Welcome back, everyone. So today we continue with our speed run. So we're gonna play a 10-minute game, and we are still in the 600s. So pretty much the opening might be, they may make a mistake in the opening, but let's see. I really hope we can get a real opening. For example, here it looks like they're going for general principles, taking over the center, and here in this case we can take the pawn. He's gonna take back, and I would love it if he can play my favorite variation, the Caro Kaan hour. Okay, no. So here he's expecting me to take this pawn, so he would take back, and we don't have to play that, right? We can actually do something else. We can develop the knight, for example. That would be fine. So I'm gonna develop the knight. Okay, so I have this tricky move. It's kind of tricky because he's contesting the center right away by playing e5, and if he takes, I can trade queens, right? That will simplify the game. But actually I can just hit the queen, so we are actually have to fight for the center. So I'm gonna develop the bishop. Okay, now we can just trade bishops here. So objectively we are helping white develop their pieces, but we want to do the same thing. So I'm going to play e6, and now I can have some scope for my bishop. Look at the weakness. You always want to identify the weakness. To me, is the dark squares, right? We want to play on the dark squares with black. So a good move to me is going to be queen b6, for example. I can also develop my bishop here first. So you know what? Yeah, I haven't decided what I want to do with this queen just yet. So I'm gonna develop my bishop safe. He's hitting my knight. I can develop my other knight. Yeah, I'm gonna hit this diagonal with a queen. Probably there is something better in this position. The next move is going to be queen d7, and sorry, knight d7, protecting the other knight. For example, if he takes here, I can take back with the pawn, no problem. I can also take back with the bishop, but then this move comes next, e5, for example. Okay, so he's hitting my queen. I can always go back. I always want to centralize the queen. For example, I can play queen b4, but that gets hit by c3 by moving the pawn. So why don't we hit the queen? Actually, this is going to be a blunder. Now that I look at it, I'm hitting the pawn, the knight, sorry, and I'm hitting the bishop with this move. So probably the game is going to be determined by a tactic. So I'm forking these two pieces, these three. I believe the best move in the position for white now is gonna be to consolidate or to get rid of the pieces. And that's unfortunate because he didn't see it, right? This is almost like board blindness, where you don't see these diagonals or this type of coordination of the pieces. So now this bishop is hanging, and we are winning with black. Okay, so now we can even try to win this pawn. So I can play, for example, queen e3, given a check, and then I can win this pawn. But we don't really need to rush anything. In fact, I think we can even play something more, it's not more aggressive, but it's more active. So for example, h5, and my idea is to go h4. So I'm gonna play that. I wouldn't recommend for beginner levels to do this. Instead, I will just go to the basics. Like if you don't know what to do, you don't have an active plan, maybe you can play something like 97, developing pieces. I mean, we're completely winning. There is nothing to worry about here. And yeah, he unfortunately honed the knight, so I didn't expect the game to go this way so easily. But okay, we're still in the beginning of levels, so this is gonna happen a lot. It's gonna happen less and less as we make progress in this speed run. But yeah, this was too easy. I think he might just resign now. Okay, it's good. I'm gonna go back here, move my queen away, hitting the pawn. Okay, here I can just play this, for example. One of the things I always comment about in my videos is you want to divide the territory into two. You don't need to cross into enemy's territory. If you look back, none of my pieces are into enemy's territory. So here, I could do this because there is less pieces on the board, but I can also go here, 95. Right, 95 is just a more solid move, as I can go back here or here. And to simplify this game, not make it long, I'm gonna trade this knight. Probably there is something better in this position, but this pawn is also hanging, so I'm just gonna take here. It's gonna take back, and now I will develop my knight, hitting these two pawns, and there is no problems for black in this position. It's completely winning. Okay, so now I'm gonna win this pawn. This is just a free pawn. Okay, so we're just going to get the ideas, right? So he wants to take this pawn, and I can actually just castle and protect everything. Now with this move, I'm protecting the pawn. I still keep an eye on this pawn as well. And unfortunately he won a piece, so probably this player needs to work on basic captures. You need to think about your opponent, what your opponent wants to do. Okay, now I'm gonna get my rook into the open file. I think at this point either rook was fine, but maybe the rook that is further away from the game. Here, okay, I want to move my knight. I have lots of squares here. You always want to keep it central. You don't want to go here. And I say I don't see any risk. I'm gonna play knight e4, centralizing the knight. Remember, you always want to have a square to go back. So I still have this square, possibly this square. I can also go here if I want at some point. Okay, I'm gonna go here and attack the rook. He cannot take, everything is good, it's protected. And later I'm gonna bring my other rook and my other rook into the game, right? It's a simple plan, really. But I'm fighting for this open file. Okay, so I'm gonna bring this rook. Oh boy, I'm still sick. So here, you might be thinking, okay, he's attacking the pawn. We don't even have to respond to that, as we have a bigger threat, which is checkmate. So he's gonna have to defend in this position, which I quite don't know how he would defend this position. This is checkmate coming next. So he should probably resign. Yeah, I actually don't see how he can defend this pawn. Okay, now that's a good move to try some defense in the position. So here we can just take. And now we have all kinds of discover checks, discover attacks. I can move my knight. And the queen is behind it, attacking the king. And see, now I can even win this rook by moving my knight back. Let me see if we have something better. I actually don't see anything better. Probably there is. Oh, maybe. What about 93? He has to move the rook anyway. And this is coming next. So I think any move is fine at this point. I think knight f5 work as well. It's the same thing, right? I'm gonna go here. Yeah, this is checkmate. Okay, let me do the review to see if we missed any important moves, and then we continue. Okay, so as I was commenting in the game, e5 has to be played. This is theory, right? This is the theory that you have to play. And after they take, yeah, maybe we can try queens. But I didn't like this version where, okay, he's gonna take back, I take this pawn, and I think it's just easier for him to play. So I was trying to take him out of theory. And funny enough, I'm gonna go here. The crucial moment. I was thinking, okay, he's completely out of the game. I know, he can just play e5, and I take the knight, he takes my knight, and the game continues. It's completely equal. It's actually, white will have an advantage in this position because he's winning this pawn, right? He's gonna be an extra pawn. However, he didn't see that, and the rest was history. We're gonna go for another game. This time around, we're playing white. I'm gonna start with d4. This is for also players who don't have a lot of time to study chess. So the London system is a very strong, very good opening. I'm gonna play that in this game. To be honest, I don't like this opening because it can be predictable. So predictable meaning they can copy my moves, and then the position doesn't give you a lot of advantage. But I'm gonna show you how we can win in this position, just following normal principles. So first, I'm gonna put my pawn here on e3. Later I can develop my bishop. Okay, so he's developing the knight. I want you to pay attention to this knight because it's kind of awkward. Actually, you want to play c3 or c4, the same thing with black. You want to develop the pawn first and then develop your knight. So this is interesting. I'm going to play c4 in this position. I will go a little bit more aggressive. Probably c3 or c4 are good options. I'm gonna take back. I'm gonna take this pawn and see my knight is free. I don't really have to worry about the c file anymore. And my strategy is going to be probably I can bring my knight here or here, my rook as well, and it's going to be a good fight. Okay, so we still have to pay attention to the weaknesses we are creating in this position, which is the light squares. Okay, so I'm just gonna move my knight here. Probably it's a bit awkward, but I'm going to put it to fight to this square. And then maybe later I'm gonna get my rook onto the open file. So that's why I'm putting my knight here and not on the c3 file, okay? All right, so you still want to develop the other knight. What would be a good square? I think a good square for the knight can be knight e2, knight f3. Both are good. So I'm gonna play knight f3. Now, what you want to do with black, if I was playing black, you want to develop this bishop. Okay, here we can trade the bishop, but that feels like I will be helping black. So I don't really want to help them. I'm going to move my bishop away from this square. I'm gonna put it on g5. So I know this is theory. I think I have to trade here, but I'm gonna avoid a little bit of that theory that I want to avoid it. So I'm gonna cancel now. Okay, that feels that actually doesn't feel right. Yeah. So one of the principles I always mention in my videos is, okay, we have good pieces. Maybe you can go for a pawn break, but you still have to be careful about the pawn break. He has relatively good pieces. However, I think I can play e4, and the huge difference between my good pieces and his good pieces is this knight. This knight is being attacked through, has been pinned, right? So I'm gonna play e4. We can analyze later whether this was a good move or not. He cannot take here because my knight comes in. And if he goes back, I can take here, but I think that will be helping black. He has two ways. Give me a second here. Takes. No, that will help him. So actually, I think I can play d5. d5, grabbing more space. Okay. Now I can hit. So one of the first things we have accomplished now is This bishop is not that powerful anymore. And second, after I kick out the knight, I don't think he has any squares available in this position. Oh, he has, actually. He has this square. So he's gonna have to reroute the knight here. It's the only square available. It's the only good square. And now I'm gonna cut the other escape he has, which is going to be c5. So I'm gonna go with this plan before cutting this square for him to escape. Oh, okay, now he goes all the way back. Now we have to figure out a way to punish poor development, because now it looks like he has never developed this knight, even though he has moved it like 14 times. It looks like he hasn't made any moves. Now I really want to get rid of this bishop. Maybe there might be this move, rerunning the knight. But actually, like I mentioned before, I want to put my rook on the open file, so, or semi-open file, so I'm gonna do that. And now that I look at the position, maybe I hung the pawn. Oh, no, it's fine. I think it's fine. I'm gonna go here. He's hitting my bishop. I'm just gonna move back. Okay, I don't really have an active plan, so I will try to keep improving my pieces by putting my rook on the open file, rook e1. I wish I could have a pawn break. Maybe I can start thinking about b5, a4. Those are good moves. So he's hitting my knight. I'm just gonna move here, for example. Actually, I'm gonna put my queen on c2, keeping an eye on the pawn, attacking this file, keeping an eye on this bishop. Okay, and now once he takes my knight, my pawn is protected twice. Nothing to worry about in this position. Okay, this is interesting. I think I can even go for a sacrifice, but I am more from the Karpovian school of chess, where you don't really need to sacrifice pieces to win a chess. Although this looks very attractive, we can analyze it later with the computer, because that will open up the king completely. But I'm gonna go back. We don't need to do anything fancy. And I want you to keep that in mind in your games. You don't need to do crazy sacrifices. Sometimes, yeah, when you have a good calculation, you have time to think. Here we also want to be practical about it. And we don't have much time to calculate, so. Okay, he wants to take my bishop. I have this move in mind. Maybe I can reroute my queen, getting into better diagonal, because I don't see anything else. So I'm gonna go there and do that. Once he takes my bishop, where do you take? You want to take toward the center, right? Next, I'm going to reroute my knight, hit this pawn, and thanks to my queen being here, he cannot push this pawn. He wouldn't be able to push this pawn later down the line. Okay, I'm gonna do that. This is the plan. Or even here. He's hitting my bishop, but I actually don't need that bishop. It's not super important in the position. So I'm gonna go here and grab this pawn. At the end of the day, my bishop is being protected. Okay. Now I'm gonna hit this pawn twice. Yeah, there is no way he can activate. I think I can even take here with an extra tempo. Once he moves, he has to give up the queen, actually. This is a check. He actually has to take. Yeah, there's no squares available for the king. So now he has to take. It's the only move available in the position. So I'm just taking. And here, okay, I'm gonna win this pawn. Probably what I want to do is bring my rook into the game somehow. How do I do this? I want to create an active plan. Maybe, yeah, maybe this and then rerouted my rook, because I cannot do it this way. Yeah, there's no need to rush here, but yeah, okay. I'm gonna go with that plan. And I'm gonna move my king away, delivering the checkmate. The final blow. I think he will have to give up all his pieces. Oh yeah. For example, here, he has to give up the bishop to not lose the game. And actually, I don't even have to take. Just realizing that. I can just move here, and this is checkmate. So, thank you very much indeed. Okay, guys, I missed a big moment. In this case, black castle, right? That was what happened in the game. And here, I castle as well. But I am supposed to play e4. Before he moves the bishop, I can play this. And once I take here, I take. I'm forking these two pieces. So there is no escape. Now, let's go ahead. That was the big miss. And for him, nothing was also a super big mistake as except for this knight move. So this knight move actually gives me a point of advantage. He's supposed to hit my bishop like this, right? So that was the biggest. And I think he also has more retreating, not retreating squares, but he's hitting my bishop with the tempo. And okay, let's go ahead. The biggest blunder for him was moving the king to defend this square. Now you have to defend with the queen, right? Because now if you want to defend with the queen, you can't. There is this tempo. So I am attacking these two squares, and black was completely lost. Alright guys, thanks for watching. Please comment, like, and subscribe, and I will see you in the next one. Take care.